Let's be real for a second. Job interviews are stressful, right? It feels like this massive performance where you have to get every single word just perfect. But what if it wasn't like that? What if you had an insider's playbook? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to turn that interview anxiety into real confidence.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll uncover the hidden rules of the interview. Then, we'll crack the code on the kinds of questions they'll ask you. After that, we're going to flip the script and talk about the questions you should be asking. We'll also dive into the unseen things that can influence an interview. And finally, we'll put it all together to show you why it's really all about finding the right match.
All right, first up, the interview's hidden rules. And here's the big secret. An interview is almost never just a casual chat. Nope, it's a highly structured event, and you gotta know the rules of the game.
I mean, think about it. The job interview is pretty much a universal step for getting hired. It's the main way companies decide who gets to join the team. It's a scene that, almost all of us have been through.
But here's where it gets wild. Even though everyone does it, a ton of research has shown that the classic job interview is, and I'm quoting here, notoriously unreliable at actually picking the best person for the job. Kind of crazy, right?
So this is why the type of interview is so incredibly important. On one hand, you have the unstructured interview. The freewheeling, let's just chat kind. Turns out, that one's not very reliable. On the other hand, you have the structured interview. This is where every single applicant gets asked the exact same list of questions. It's way more accurate, it's fair, and it's what the really smart companies are using.
Okay, so now that we know why structured interviews are the way to go, let's get into our second part, cracking the question code. So what kind of questions are you actually going to hear in one of these things?
Well, first up, you're probably going to get some situational questions. These are all about the future. They're hypothetical. An interviewer might say something like, okay, imagine a huge client is angry about a new feature you just launched. It's not working. What do you do? They really just want to see how you think on your feet.
Now, the second type, which is maybe even more common, is behavioral questions. These are the total opposite. They're all about your past. And the logic behind them is super simple. The best way to predict what you'll do in the future is to look at what you've already done in the past. Makes sense.
So, you're gonna hear a lot of questions that start with stuff like, tell me about a time when, or give me an example of. They don't want to hear what you would do, they want to hear a real story about what you did. So the key here is to have your stories ready to go. Specific, compelling examples that really show off what you can do.
Okay, we've spent a lot of time on how to answer questions, but now let's flip the script because it's your turn to ask. This is where you transform the interview from an interrogation into a real conversation.
You have to remember this. You are interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. Seriously. The goal isn't just to get any job offer. It's to get the right job offer. And the best matches happen when it's a great fit for both of you.
So, what should you ask? Well, here are 6 really powerful questions that can give you a genuine feel for a company. We're talking about everything from their diversity and their impact, all the way to things like flexibility and your own professional growth.
Let's zoom in on a couple of these, starting with the big one, maybe the most important question of all. What is the office culture like? This one question can tell you so much about what your day-to-day life is going to be.
And why is this so critical? Well, as one developer named Ash put it, culture is often more important than the salary. I mean, think about it. If you're in a toxic environment and you burn out, no paycheck is going to make that worth it.
Okay, here's another fantastic question that digs a little deeper than just the job description. What impact are you making? This really gets to the core of a company's mission, their why.
A lot of people these days really want to feel like their work actually matters. They want to be part of a team that's solving a real problem in the world. It gives the job a sense of meaning that goes way beyond just, checking off tasks on a list.
All right, let's move on to our fourth section. And this is where things get a little tricky. We're talking about the unseen influences, the subtle, sometimes unconscious stuff that can sway an interviewer's opinion.
So, beyond the actual words coming out of your mouth, what else is influencing how the interviewer sees you? The research on this is frankly both fascinating and a little bit scary.
While studies have found a bunch of factors that have nothing to do with the job, but can still bias an interviewer's rating. Things like physical attractiveness, similarities in your backgrounds, even cultural cues like having a foreign accent. Now, this is exactly why structured interviews are so important. They help minimize these biases. But it's good to know they can still be floating around.
And it's not just about biases. Your nonverbal cues, the way you communicate without words, are incredibly powerful. We're talking about the pitch of your voice, whether you're making eye contact, your posture, if you're smiling. All of this sends a signal. Positive nonverbal cues can actually make you seem more competent, more motivated, and more trustworthy. Sometimes they speak even louder than your answers.
And all of this brings us to our final section, where we're going to tie it all together, winning the two-way street. And really, the biggest thing here is all about a simple shift in how you think about the whole process.
See, a great interview is not about tricking someone into hiring you. It's not a test you have to ace. It's a process of mutual discovery. It's just two parties, you and the company, trying to honestly figure out if you're a good fit for each other. That's it.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Next time you walk into an interview, ask yourself, am I here to pass a test, or am I here to make a match? Because approaching it as a match to be made instead of a test to be passed, well, that can change absolutely everything.